to play Keep the Heroes Out. Now, this is a game about keeping your dungeon safe from those evil heroes. I don't know what they're thinking about coming in and destroying your people. All right, but before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and that notification bell because board games are amazing, and that's what we do here at Legends of Nirvana. Now, Randy, can you tell us a little bit more about Keep the Heroes Out?
I can. This was a Origins pickup for us, but it was a 2022 release on the base game. Now, we did get the Guildmaster's Revenge expansion, which was their new expansion that came out. That lets you, this is normally a 1 to 4 player game, co-op. This makes it one versus 4, so you can play as the heroes, 1 player. And so we didn't use this game for when we tested it, so we haven't played the 1 versus 4, but we did use the pieces from it because it gives you the wooden bits to replace the cardboard tokens. It's a 40-minute game, average length, age 10 and up. Board Game Geek rating is actually really good on this, 8.0, and the rank is 666 right now. So, seems appropriate for a monster game, I don't know. Designed by Louis Breu, art is by Louis Breu, and published by, you guessed it, Breu Games. So it's self-published, self-designed. I really like that. It is cooperative, as I mentioned. It's area movement, deck building, and it has a modular board. They give you different scenarios to play through. Board Game Geek Market currently has this game for $59. The best price is Tabletop Merchant, which has it for $40.99. So that's the best price that has it in stock. Pandemonium Games has it for $60, which is basically the same as what they're selling on Board Game Geek Market. Amazon has the Kickstarter bundle, which is the core game, this, plus the Great Dreamer expansion, which is Cthulhu, because I have to put Cthulhu in everything. So Cthulhu added on as a character. That whole bundle is selling on Amazon for $175.
Yeah, no.
It isn't worth that. The expansions that they have for this, they have the Sparkling Guardian expansion, which is basically unicorns are added. The boss battles, which I assume adds more scenarios and more bosses to the game that you're going to be fighting against. The Guildmaster's Revenge, which we already talked about, and the Great Dreamer. And then there's promo cards as well.
All right, so let's dig into quality of components. So you do get these awesome wooden screen printed figurines. They're all different shapes and sizes.
And they're really cute.
Yeah, they are.
They're all smiling.
Literally, there was comment, this is too cute to be this hard. That is literally a comment that was said. And it's true. I think it's darling. I love it. It is family friendly because it's such a cute kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But it is hard. But most co-ops aren't, right? Yep. They're designed to actually give you a little bit of challenge.
I love these oversized tiles, and they have a linen finish on them, which is really nice. You don't see that a lot.
Yeah, there are a few cardboard components as far as like your resource gathering, which is fine, and then your card quality. Yeah. There is a linen finish.
Yeah,
they are good
all the
thickness.
Tokens.
Yeah,
they have linen finish too.
Yeah, so the cards, really nice quality. They do get shuffled a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if people choose to sleeve them because you do cycle through them quite a bit. But they are nice.
They're narrow though, so they're probably Euro sized. You'll probably need Euro sleeves.
Mm-hmm. Overall, I think it's very pretty. I think it makes an excellent table presence. I loved. I thought it was great. Yep. Overall, I'm probably going to give this a 7.5 to 8. I don't think there's any outstanding pieces, but these are super cute, and I think everything else was well done.
Yeah, I given the fact that the heroes were not wooden bits in the base game, I'll probably give the base game 7.5. Once you add on the heroes expansion and you replace those tokens with these wooden bits, the heroes are really cool. I'm going to give it an 8 when you combine these two packages together.
Absolutely, I agree with that. All right, so moving on to the theme is, well, you're a monster lord trying to defend your dungeon. And there's other monster lords, and they're trying to, have a home and do their thing too. So you guys are going to work together to make sure the heroes don't end up killing every one of you, because that's that's not a very heroic thing to do.
It's not so much the killing, so much as getting to your treasure, because there's one treasure that's very important that we have to protect. So basically, the treasures kind of act like barriers for the heroes, and if they break through all your barriers, if you will, getting that last treasure, then you lose the game.
Right. So it is very sad indeed. So overall, the theme was one of the reasons why I picked it up. There were two reasons why I picked this game up. Was because it was a 4-1, and I just thought it'd be fun to actually go against Randy on purpose, and not just out of he's probably going to win. So I thought that would make it a little bit more fun, because I know sometimes he's like, everyone's going after me. This time it'll be on purpose. And then the other piece of it was the theme. The fact, I don't know, I fell in love with dungeon lit RPGs, and that brings this to kind of fruition, and I love it.
Well, I used to play Dungeon Keeper on the computer back in the day. I loved the old one, not the new app they've created where it's pay to play, basically, but the original computer version where you built your dungeon, you had a giant hand that would move your minions around and then smack them if they didn't do what you wanted them to do. It was lots of fun.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think the theme's great. The art's fantastic. Like I said, it keeps it family friendly because the art is very cutesy. So overall, theme-wise, I'm going to give this a 9. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely fits the theme, the gameplay, and the critters are so cute. They're adorable. They're, like I said, every one of them smiling. I love the little, whatever,
Slimes.
the slimes that just, they remind me of one of the video games. I can't remember, was it Dungeon Quest or something that had those little ghosts that are screaming. Yeah, I mean, they're just adorable. Each one's cuter than the next. The actual cardboard is kind of dark and everything, but it's still got little touches of cuteness in it, but nothing like the characters. So it's like you take a dark subject that could be something really, really deep and heavy, and you put these light creatures in there. It just makes the game more fun, I think. I will probably go ahead and give this a 9 as well.
Yeah, I think they did a fantastic job. All right, so moving on to the actual rule book. How was that?
Okay, well, there's 2 books in the game. One is the rules themselves, which are 16 pages, and then you get a 24-page dungeon book, which gives you 20 different scenarios to play with different configurations of the board, and then also different main bosses that you're fighting against. Mm-hmm. We started with the very basic one. There's 3 different levels you can play on, which basically just talk about how fast you burn through the deck, because if you burn through the deck twice and you're still alive, you win the game. But we played on the middle one, right, and we got slaughtered badly.
It was so bad. It was so sad. It just really was depressing.
And then we played it on the easy mode. We got through the first round okay, and then it basically mirrors the second phase mirrors what the standard middle one is, and the second phase we didn't live very long. It is a tough game. The biggest issue I had with the rulebook was we just had to keep referencing it throughout the game because it's so difficult to make sure you get the right sequence of what the heroes do.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's not a cheat sheet.
Yeah, there should have been cheat sheets for this, absolutely. That was the biggest problem, was just we had to keep going through and saying, okay, how does this resolve? How does this resolve?
What was their special abilities?
Yeah.
Like, okay, whatever. Because everyone can keep track of their own stuff, but when talking about heroes when no one really owns it. Mm-hmm. But then again, that's resolved probably with the expansion because that player is going to be responsible for monitoring those. But
the other thing is that some of it didn't make sense a little bit, because like the archers in particular, like you pointed out when we were playing, there's a guide that says they fire towards where the treasure chest is. And once they're in the room with the treasure chest, if they activate, where do they fire? Well, we ended up ruling, because it doesn't tell you what to do after that they don't fire at all because they're in the room with the treasure chest.
Now, part of our decision had to do with the fact that we were almost dead anyway.
But, I mean, logically you would think they would still try to kill the creatures. But they don't, there's no explanation for what happens if they're in the treasure room. Where do they fire?
So what would you rate the rule book?
I think the rulebook does a good job. I mean, short, it gets you through it. I just think it left a few holes and you had to interpret a few things. It's a quick read, a lot of blurbs in here, and it's not difficult. A lot of examples, a lot of nice pictures. I think it's laid out well. I'll probably go ahead and give this one probably a 7.5 because there was so much referencing back to it, which I don't think is conducive to gameplay. Whenever you have to keep going back to the rulebook to check things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the addition of a cheat sheet that stepped you through how the heroes, the basically the AI of the game, would have been nice.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go into gameplay. So, all right, you're going to have a hand of 5 cards from your deck. So, your deck is basically a starting deck, plus over the course of the game, you can add additional cards. You can add potions, weapons, and pets, okay? And you'll do that by gathering resources within the dungeon, taking it to certain locations to be able to trade those resources in for the cards. Which was pretty difficult. Maybe shouldn't have been, but it was.
Well, I think it depended on what kind of card. The challenge was the board configuration was very conducive for getting the pets, but we didn't get a lot of pets coming up. We got a bunch of equipment, and the equipment was very far away.
Yeah, I mean, and I've tried to put the portals in place, but we'll kind of get into that as we talk about it. All right, so I have a hand of 5 cards. Now I can play all of these 5 cards. You can choose to not play them, but it really doesn't behoove you because as soon as you get done with your turn, you draw back up to 5 cards. But there may be a case where there's just no enemies on the board and you have a bunch of combat cards and you know there will be by your next turn. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so I have 5 cards in my hand and I'm going to place. Now, this little hand with the pointer means it's an activation. Now it can be in your own special ability or an activation of the room or maybe an activation of the portal. So just kind of keep that in mind. And also the boot is to make movement. Okay, so in this particular case, I'll have a move and activate. So I'm one of these guys here. And I am going to move and activate. Let's see. I'm going to move out of here because I'm actually a support character. I'm not meant to be up close and personal with everything. And this is the trap room, so maybe with any luck I can activate some traps. So then my second action will be to activate a trap. Now a trap is very, very useful because as soon as the heroes enter the room and there is not a rogue, they die. So when they don't activate that room, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
Well, if the rogue doesn't spawn there or reactivate there, it will also die to the
correct.
Trap. It's
correct. But so just kind of being aware of that. All right, so I did that. Then the next thing I can do is I can use this card as a shield because it's got a shield on there. So if someone's going to attack me, I can choose to block it and gain a card. But I'm not going to do that because there's a lot of people in that final room. So I'm going to end up shooting 2 arrows at them. So I'm going to remove the 2 archers. Now the reason why I'm choosing to remove the 2 archers is they get to attack twice if they're activated, and we already nearly dead. So this is where we ended up falling last time. All right, so that being the case, that's that action. So then I have some move and trigger actions. So I'm going to actually trigger that trap again. And then I'm actually going to move that trap into this room to help us out a little bit because there's still a lot of guys surrounding this room. So that makes me a little nervous. All right, now I can choose to respawn, which I need to do because I don't have anyone available to me. I'm going to end up dying real fast, but it'll be all right. And then I'm also going to create a toad because a toad needs to be on this room when the witch comes. So
well, that's for this particular scenario.
Yes, so in this particular scenario, we have a witch as an overlord, and she gets hungry and requests that she has toads in her room. So depending on when she pops up in the deck, that's when you have to have the toad there. So I'm just going to put 1 in there just to make sure she has one. So I've played my 5 cards. Now, we, in this particular case, are on the second round, but if we're starting at the beginning, obviously it's going to be 1 card or
Yeah.
2 card based on the difficulty. So Randy, flip over a
So
card.
the first one is the archers, and they spawn on the blue sword spaces.
All right, so we've got 2 archers. So one's going to go here, and the other one is going to go here. Now this one, it is by itself. Okay, so we're going to start this one first so I can show you. So he comes in. His special move is to immediately shoot an arrow in an adjacent room. Now, I know I'm probably going to be die, so I'm going to take 1 health hit to this guy here. Okay, and then he is
Going to hit that trap.
going to hit that trap, so he is dead. Lucky, lucky. See?
And the trap goes away.
Correct. So that was great that I ended up placing a trap there because he could have came in to our room and attack us, and either me or the skeleton would have died. All right, so then we got to trigger this one. Now, immediately, there's nothing to shoot in either location because he can only attack adjacently, but he is going to rally or inspire all of his compatriots back up. They are no longer exhausted, so this is a bit of a problem for us monsters. All right, so because they got up, they're going to do the special they're triggering. So the rogue, if there was a trap, he would remove the trap. There isn't one. There's no adjacent enemy, so the archers don't trigger their special ability. But all 3 of them do get to attack. Now, we have the choice here to where we want the damage to go. Now, we can decide to choose the dragon. The dragon has 5 health and can be healed every time he has an activate all of his damage. So we're going to decide that he's going to take all 3 of that damage because mice and skeletons, well, they need to be
They
around.
die easily.
They die really easily, and there's so few left on the board that maybe they want to actually have something to do next turn. All right, but remember, this is a co-op game, so people get together to discuss and decide who's going to take the hit. So Randy, Randy might say, "Hey, I've got 3 respawns. It's not a big deal. You can go ahead and take me out." Or the dragon may say the same thing. "Hey, I got a hand. I got a respawn. So feel free to give me all the damage until I, fall over." Okay, so once that is done, they did their attack. All the dragon was dealt with. They got here. Now, what if, for example, we didn't have any of these wonderful friends of ours there? Well, that's going to be a bit of a problem. So if they would have triggered up, they would have said, "Hey, look, there's a treasure. We want to go after that." Now, the treasure is a level 2. So so we're going to say that the rogue and one of the archers worked to get it open. They did, in fact, get it open. We're going to flip it over, and it's going to tell us what we're going to do. We get to flip over a card and put it in jail. So flip over a card.
That's the archers, so we put an archer in the prison.
Yeah.
So, which sounds like it's a bad thing for them. It's bad in the sense that they were burning through the deck faster. But if you put a mage in there, if you flipped a mage, it breaks out all of the creatures there, so they get flooded into the dungeon.
Yeah, so be warned and wary. All right, so 2 of them used to do the trap, but there's 1 free one, so that 1 free one's going to go in here. It's going to trigger. So there's nothing for it to do. So it's going to continue on and on until he comes in here. So if this rogue should have been exhausted, he will have then stood back up. That rogue, because he actionated, would have gotten rid of the trap, which is very sad for us. And then they would do, okay.
They would attack us.
They would attack us. And I already have 1 damage, so we're actually both dead.
Yep.
That's super sad.
And this is where the treasure room is right now, where this main chest is. If they get 4 of their creatures in here, then the game's over.
Now, because they attack, they're exhausted. They don't get a chance at the treasure chest this round. All right, so that is a completed turn, and you keep going until either they win or you get through the deck twice. I will say, we played this twice in a row because I think we all had a lot of fun. I think it was a good little game.
And we lost badly the first time, and the second time we did better, but we were on the easiest mode, and we still lost.
Yeah, so I will say it is very difficult. But like in a good way, not like horrific.
Oh,
like
no. I mean, I always say that solo games you should lose more than you win. If you're playing co-op, I should say, not solo, but co-op, because otherwise it's a pointless game, in my opinion, when you're playing co-op if it's that easy. so it should be difficult. Now that said, I think one thing that's nice is each creature plays a little differently. So you're gonna, even if you beat a scenario, you can go back and change the creatures and have a different play style for the scenario. That's really nice. But I think there's a lot of I mean, it does feel a little repetitive as far as the actions each turn because you're at the mercy of your deck. Now you can enhance the deck based upon what you get, but it does feel a little samey as you play through after a while. But it's still,
but we played 2 games in a row, so
yeah,
to be a little
but
bit
it's
fair
still,
on that front.
yeah, it's still a lot of fun. I mean, I like the concept still. I just wish there was a way to build something a little more unique than just generic traps. You know, I want to build like cages and I want to build pits and different things, but you know, it's yeah. The other thing is you're very limited on tokens. There's only 5 of each kind, so you're gonna. You know, we kept finding ourselves running out. If we built a lot of traps or a lot of frogs or whatever, we ran out of things that we could.
Well, we only ran out of frogs once. I don't think we ran out of
Yeah.
anything else.
We ran out of traps.
Oh, we did. Yeah. Well, that's because we were trying to get some out because we were dying, guys. It was rough.
Yes.
It was rough. So overall, I actually really enjoyed the game. I thought it was great. Like I said, I can definitely see Sarah absolutely loving this. Andrew and Adam both liked it. I think liked it quite a bit. So for me, I'm going to give this a solid 8. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. It was good.
I'll probably go with a 7.5. I think it's a good game. I think I'd like to see a little more variety in it, but I think it's got a nice foundation to grow from, and I think it would have been enhanced by having the cheat sheets by far. That really took away from the experience when I had to keep every turn going back and checking the rules.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We had an absolute blast today, and hopefully you'll come hang out with us again. Catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.